For more than a decade, they built a life rooted in faith and family.
She was a smart woman. She loved her kids. She was family-oriented.
He was so charismatic.
He also was a man of faith.
Well, God said we got to clean your filthy.
But in a split second, their future was torn away in an act of violence.
I need somebody here, please. I need somebody here. Oh, Jesus.
It was unbelievable what happened.
It seemed not even like a nightmare. It wasn't real.
Imagine having two fully involved relationships for 10 years.
Double life. That's a double life.
Did betrayal lead to a desperate plot?
She wanted him all to herself.
Or was there a hidden serpent lurking in the garden?
The story starts to unravel.
When everything is said and done, people always know the truth.
Everything was a lie from the very beginning.
Just to see that many people being manipulated at one time, it's just evil.
June 2015. It's a balmy summer in Macon, a mid-sized city located 85 miles south of Atlanta and known as the heart of Georgia.
It's very affordable, a great place to raise a family.
It's not too country, it's not too city. I think it's the perfect blend.
But just after midnight on June 12th, the quiet city is jolted by an urgent call to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office from local pastor William Pounds.
We'll see the emergency.
Ma'am, my girlfriend, she shot herself in the head. I need an ambulance, please. I need somebody here.
Yes, sir. I can get him en route for you, okay? But I need you to try to calm down for me.
Oh, Jesus.
On the 911 call, William is panicking and Kendra is in dire need of medical attention.
She's not breathing.
Okay. She's
not breathing. I'm gonna try to do CPR on her.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4,
2,
4,
3,
1,
4,
2,
5,
3,
6,
4,
7,
1,
8,
2,
9,
3.
10.
As William fights to keep Kendra alive, first responders race to the scene. Every second is critical.
As the minutes tick by, Kendra's chances of survival grow dimmer. For as long as anyone could remember, 46-year-old Kendra Jackson had been a beacon of light in her community.
Kendra was a sweetheart. When she showed up, she brought the sun with her.
People loved her. They say that she was a good mix of sassy and classy.
When you say classy, you say Kendra. You just knew she was gonna look her best, speak her best, present her best at all times.
The daughter of a reverend, Kendra was raised in a devoutly religious household alongside her 3 siblings.
Growing up in a Christian home, especially when your parents are involved in preaching, it can have a big influence on you, and there's a lot of pressure to always do your best.
That kind of defined her trajectory in life.
And nothing in Kendra's life was more important to her than motherhood.
Kendra got married at a young age. Her and her husband had 3 kids.
But the relationship between Ms. Jackson and her husband was not as strong as they had hoped, and they ended up growing apart and divorced.
In the years following the divorce, Kendra worked hard to give her children a good upbringing.
Okay, great. She was very loving towards her kids. Her kids were the priority.
I'll take care of that for you.
She was able to eventually find a good job as a personal banker. She had a part-time job working in a jewelry store.
I'm like, girl, why are you working 2 jobs? Because she was trying to take care of people.
You're a little busy here.
If anyone could handle the stress of motherhood and work, it was Kendra.
Taken care of.
We call her Michelle Obama. Like if she was having a bad day, she would have the classiest bad day ever. She was always in mama mode and let me make it better for you mode.
Kendra was the total package. So it seemed only a matter of time before a new suitor came knocking.
She's maintained her faith that God would provide her a good man.
Can I help you?
Yes, I have some questions about my bank account there.
Okay, let me take a look.
William Pounds was a prominent preacher, and he was also a senior master sergeant in the Air Force.
If he was to walk in, he would immediately grab your attention. He's a good-looking man. He was always well-dressed, well-mannered.
The two of them quickly hit it off.
I hate to be forward, but you mind joining me for dinner on Friday?
I'd like that.
He had, a great resume. He also was a man of faith, which immediately resonated with Kendra.
Within a short period of time, Kendra was smitten, and then when she saw him preach, her love grew even bigger.
But God said we got to clean your filth. You still got some dirt on your nails. But even though you have dirt on your nails, he died. Yeah, before you got your engine running like new, he died.
He was so charismatic.
His congregation loved and adored him.
He was able to breathe his own passion into the Word of God, and Kendra found that absolutely inspiring.
To Kendra. But now, a few short years later, the couple's future has been hurled into doubt.
Instead of walking down the aisle, Kendra is barely clinging to life.
William was on the phone with 911 and told investigators that she shot herself in the head.
Damn it, Kendra, why you want to do this to me?
When first responders arrive on the scene, William leads them to the bedroom.
She's over here.
They find her collapsed on the floor in a pool of her own blood.
The first responders immediately jump into action.
The paramedics tried to apply first aid.
Every attempt was made to resuscitate her, but eventually it was clear that it was too late.
Kendra was dead.
For more than a decade, Macon pastor William Pounds had been Kendra Jackson's rock.
William was her handsome knight in shining armor. He was charismatic. He said all the right things.
She was planning a wedding to, a man that she loved.
Until a bullet to the head severed their bond forever.
The paramedics tried to apply first aid, but it became too late.
Kendra was dead.
When investigators from the Bibb County Sheriff's Office arrive on the scene, they step aside with Kendra's grieving fiancé.
Sir, I'm sorry for your loss. Do you think you're up to walking us through what happened?
Yeah, I can do that.
Mr. Pounds said it started off as a normal day. Him and Kendra and the kids had spent quality time together.
They all had dinner together, and then Kendra drove the kids over to their father's house.
Hurry back.
Kendra returned to the home around 10 p.m.
She came back. Him and her got into bed.
They are watching a basketball game and starting to discuss some of the details of their relationship.
Kendra saw her pressing him on a date for the marriage.
We've been engaged for a while now. I think it's time that we should start planning the wedding.
She wants her wedding because the whole world around her and William's relationship expects this to happen. Because that is the Christian thing to do.
He told her that he wasn't ready to get married, and she didn't respond well to that.
What do you mean you're not ready? We've been together for like 15 years.
He really loved Kendra, but after so many years, he had felt the relationship had run its course.
William tells investigators that when he broached the subject of ending their relationship, Kendra started to spiral.
All the years that she has invested in their relationship, She feels like she had wasted her time.
Kendra, calm down. We can talk.
Don't tell me to calm down!
He says that she flew into a rage.
Kendra grabbed the handgun off the dresser drawer.
And he thought that she would shoot him.
But instead, Kendra turned the gun on herself.
William told investigators that she shot herself in the left side of the head.
Oh my God!
He goes, attempts to resuscitate, he attempts to do whatever he can.
William said he hurried up and rushed to her side to control the bleeding as he dialed 911.
2, 3, 4.
To the detectives, William looks like a broken man.
He just explained he witnessed his fiancée committing suicide, and that's not an easy thing to cope with.
Thank you.
With any death like this, they have to perform an investigation. But in the case of suicide, it's typically just a formality.
The crime scene has the appearance of a suicide. The victim is lying on the floor with a gun in close proximity. The blood is in the appropriate area. The gunshot appears to match up with the scenario provided by Mr. Pounds.
They did find an entry on the wall from the gunshot wound to her head.
But then investigators discover something else that piques their interest. A second bullet hole.
Looks like another bullet hole into the bed.
Sure does.
So this strikes investigators as odd because based on Williams' recitation of events, she only fired one bullet.
However, detectives know that a traumatic event can play tricks on a witness's mind.
When you have so much adrenaline and stuff rushing through your body, sometimes you can't account for what really happened during that time.
We might have what we call auditory exclusion, which really lessens a person's ability to hear in chaotic situations.
Also, with many suicide attempts, some may fire a practice shot before they work up the courage to turn the gun on themselves.
Having completed their preliminary examination, detectives hand the scene over to their forensic team.
Now, Bibb County investigators have to face the difficult decision of notifying Kendra's loved ones.
Kendra's teenage daughters are with their father.
Kendra took you on that.
The children, her ex-husband, are all shocked that Kendra had taken her own life.
Suicide? Are you sure?
It was disbelief, because there was no prior indication that Kendra would be susceptible to committing suicide.
There has to be another explanation.
Our mom would never hurt herself.
The family did not believe that suicide was the cause of her death.
They're convinced there has to be more to this story.
Something's not right with it. And your gut is always right.
Detectives in Macon, Georgia have learned that moments before Kendra Jackson allegedly committed suicide, her fiancé, William Pounds, called off their engagement.
He was starting to have some second thoughts about the future of them as a couple.
William said that she grabbed his .40 caliber pistol,
Kendra!
shot herself in the head.
But now Kendra's loved ones are telling the investigators they find that story hard to believe.
She hurt herself. There's no way our mom killed herself.
They didn't believe that she would take her own life.
The family was adamant because it was outside of her character and also her faith.
What about warning signs? Did your mom seem depressed lately?
No, not at all.
Amen.
Kendra's daughters tell investigators they spent the previous day with their mother and William.
They said they didn't feel anything out of the ordinary.
And there was even cause to celebrate because Kendra's youngest daughter had just landed a new job.
They had dinner together to celebrate, and then she dropped them off to their father's house to spend the night.
Kendra made plans the next day to spend time with her daughter and go shopping. It just didn't line up.
Kendra's daughters also echo what William said in his statement. The couple wasn't in agreement about their impending wedding.
He just kept pushing back the wedding.
William and Kendra got engaged in 2012. They initially had planned on getting married in 2014. And when the date came around, William encouraged the couple to push it back even further.
Mr. Pound's explanation for the delay was financial issues.
The couple bickered about it. They had, small discussions. Nothing ever rose to the level of thinking that Kendra would take her life behind it.
By the end of the interview, investigators consider that Kendra Jackson's death may not be an open and shut case.
The fact that her loved ones, the people closest to Kendra, were so adamant that this could not be, that leads investigators to reassess the facts.
Could there be more to the story?
When detectives receive the results of Kendra's autopsy, even more questions rise to the surface.
Mr. Pounds told detectives that Kendra shot herself in the left side of the head. Well, the autopsy clearly disputed that. The evidence showed that she had shot herself in the right side.
Of course, adrenaline was running high. So maybe that was an explanation.
However, like the earlier finding that not one, but 2 bullets were fired inside the couple's bedroom, it's another inconsistency in William's version of events.
Had the chaos played tricks on William's memory, or is the story not adding up?
Police ask William to come into the station for a follow-up interview.
Appreciate you coming in on short notice.
Of course. Anything I can do to help.
William was cooperative and he seemed willing to assist in the investigation.
The night Kendra shot herself, tell me again what you saw.
He tells them again about their argument and how she got up and grabbed the gun from their dresser drawer.
William just concretely says she shot herself on the left side of her head. Now, the investigators know from coroner evidence that that is not true.
At that point, Mr. Pound's story starts to unravel.
Your version of events doesn't line up with the evidence. There were 2 shots fired in that bedroom.
Well, I only remember 1 shot.
Did you alter the scene in any way?
No.
That's when investigators ask William a point-blank question.
Did you shoot Kendra? Absolutely not.
Despite the inconsistencies in his story, William maintains that Kendra's death was a suicide. But before investigators end the interview, he drops a bombshell.
He tells police officers that he was in another relationship.
Because I'm engaged.
He was engaged to someone else, as well as Kendra.
During an interview with police in Macon, Georgia, William Pounds has just made a stunning confession. The 47-year-old pastor tells detectives he called off his wedding with Kendra Jackson because he was engaged to another woman.
This information comes as a huge surprise to investigators.
Who's gonna believe that a pastor is engaged to 2 women? Not even believe. Who's gonna even suspect?
According to William, the other woman in his life is a police officer who lives 45 minutes away in Atlanta.
What's her name?
Sierra Brinkley.
It's a discovery that forces the investigators to rethink everything they thought they knew. Could Sierra Brinkley be involved in Kendra's death?
Maybe she wanted William all to, herself.
The fact that she was a police officer, she had access to a weapon that might help her facilitate this type of crime.
Sierra agrees to drive down from Atlanta to meet detectives at the Macon Police Department for an interview.
She confirms that yes, she and William, they are engaged.
She reveals to detectives that they had actually been together for over 10 years.
You said 10 years?
That's right.
I mean, that was like wow.
Double life. That's my first thoughts. That's a double life.
Imagine having two fully involved relationships happening an hour away from each other for 10 years. The level of coordination, the level of secrecy that you must maintain.
You're trying to satisfy two people. You're trying to take care of two homes.
As an investigator, when it comes to Sierra, we want to look, when did she become aware that Kendra existed? Where was she at the time this incident happened?
According to Sierra, Kendra's existence was no secret.
What William had told Sierra is that Kendra was an ex, that they had been broken up, separated for years.
I thought that was the truth up until like a few weeks ago.
One day, Sierra decided to drive down to Macon and surprise William at his house.
When Sierra popped up at William's house unannounced, Kendra's there.
Sierra asked her, like, what are you doing here?
What do you mean, what am I doing here? Who the hell are you?
Kendra held up her finger with a wedding ring on it and said that they was engaged to get married.
So what did you do next?
I confronted William.
Wait, no. Go upstairs. I'll handle this. Go upstairs.
What is going on?
Let me explain.
William promises to Sierra that things are over with Kendra.
Look, she just came over to pick up some stuff. Our relationship, it's over. Come on. Don't give me that look. You're my only girl and my soon-to-be wife. Okay?
He says they can start preparing for their marriage by going to premarital counseling, hopefully to resolve some of the issues around honesty and fidelity.
And you agreed to go to counseling?
Yes, I did.
They were due to be married on June 12th, and that was the exact same day that Kendra died.
But as investigators know, instead of walking down the aisle with Sierra, William spent that evening with Kendra.
When she found out that William hadn't ended things with Kendra, Sierra could have flown into a jealous rage.
Did you do it and now William is covering up for you?
When investigators pose that question to Sierra, she immediately denies any involvement in Kendra's death.
Of course, Sierra says no. The last time she was even at William's house was on June 5th, a full week before the incident happened.
As police work on verifying Sierra's statement, detectives receive the completed report from the CSI technicians who processed William's home. And their findings are eye-opening.
When detectives had initially walked through the crime scene, they noticed a bullet hole in the wall, but despite exhaustive searching, the CSI was not able to recover the bullet.
What happened to that bullet that was in there, and why was it pried out of the wall?
The forensic team also failed to recover the second bullet that went through the mattress, or either shell casings.
A closer examination of the comforter and mattress revealed more alarming evidence.
They could tell by the way that the bullet had passed through the comforter that the comforter had been moved after the shots were fired. The bed had apparently been remade in an effort to conceal the bullet hole in the mattress and the comforter and the sheets.
Somebody had tampered with the scene.
The trajectory of the bullet that killed Kendra raises an even bigger red flag.
There was no way that Kendra was standing when she allegedly shot herself in the head. The evidence points to her being on the ground.
Based on these new findings, investigators feel confident that Kendra was murdered.
These are no longer discrepancies that you can attribute to faulty memory. So police believe that William has been lying. He's trying to protect himself or his other woman.
When investigators listen to the 911 call William made on the night of Kendra's death, they make yet another chilling discovery.
You still there with me? Sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
They noticed that Mr. Pounds muted his end of the call 3 to 4 times.
Hey, partner?
Why would a person in the process of administering first aid, CPR, mute his call?
1, 2, 3. You still there with me? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, you hear that?
Play that back.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
When he unmuted the phone call, you can hear the toilet flushing in the background.
If you are doing CPR, then how are we hearing the flush? What's really going on?
As Macon investigators listen to the 911 call local pastor William Pounds made on the night he alleges his fiancée Kendra Jackson committed suicide, they notice a curious noise in the background.
You still there with me? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear the toilet flushing in the background.
They suspect that toilet flushing noise could actually be William flushing down the bullet and the shell casings.
When detectives follow up with the paramedics who responded that night, they poke even more holes in William's story.
William told 911 operators that he performed CPR on Kendra before first responders arrived. But first responders, they said there was no sign of blood on William's clothes, except for a couple tiny specks on his pants.
With the amount of blood on the scene, his hands and his lower shirt should have been covered in blood.
The first responders go on to say that William told them something else in those first frantic minutes.
Their story they got from Mr. Pounds was different than the story that Mr. Pounds told the detective.
He said that he was downstairs and then he heard the gunshot go off upstairs, and then that's when he ran upstairs.
William told them that he had to kick the door in order to get to Kendra. There was no evidence that the door had been kicked in at all.
As red flags pile up, detectives also start to hear from Kendra's closest confidants. They all agree that her decade-plus relationship with William was nothing short of a roller coaster.
Kendra's friends explained to investigators that William was not this perfect fiance, perfect man.
William was a liar, he was a manipulator.
He knew he was good looking and he had the gift of gab. I think he felt as though that was a calling card for him to get into any door he wanted to.
She had caught him cheating on multiple occasions.
Who is this?
Kendra.
Who is she?
Phone.
Who is this?
Stop.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry, okay? You know how much I love you. It won't happen again.
To their dismay, friends say Kendra stayed with William despite his philandering behavior.
Even when she knew it was broken, she loved enough to be able, I can put it back together, I can fix it. She really believed that.
Jesus reminds us to forgive.
It's almost like, you know, when somebody's in a Ponzi scam and they keep putting their money into it. And you don't want to tell them not to, but you kind of want to take their checking account. But she kept depositing and he kept taking.
She's already experienced divorce. So maybe Kendra was thinking, I don't want to start over.
Don't worry.
Friends say the couple's engagement offered Kendra a fleeting moment of happiness.
She was proud of her ring, but I think that's all she had, was that ring. It was a shallow happiness.
They would discuss a wedding date, and he would move it or come up with some type of excuse.
Anything that he said was a lie, all of it was a lie. And every day it was killing her. Every day it was taking more of Kendra from Kendra. And she loved so hard that she put blinders on and couldn't even see that she was being stripped from herself.
However, in the past month, friends say Kendra had stopped wearing her engagement ring.
After Kendra found out about Sierra, that felt like the last straw.
Now, not only have you been played by a fool, but you've been playing the fool.
Kendra was done at this point.
What's going on?
In the course of their interviews, detectives learned that William's affair with Sierra Brinkley wasn't the only one.
The investigation reveals that William had been seen about 5 separate women.
He was stringing them all along, telling each of them that they were the love of his life.
It was disgusting.
When authorities received Sierra Brinkley's phone records, William's last defense finally crumbles.
She was in Atlanta. She was nowhere near Macon when this took place.
She was not at the scene of the crime when it happened.
On August 21st, 2015, Bibb County Sheriff's investigators charged William Pounds with malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault.
William was arrested for Kendra's murder, and he was calm and maintained his innocence.
The family finally has this moment where they can breathe and they have a sense of relief.
But that feeling of relief doesn't last long.
His bond was $500,000. That's a lot. But he reached out to his congregation.
So on September 15th, at William's bond hearing, his congregation shows up and rallies around him.
Pastors in the faith community are revered because they are delivering the word of God every week. People truly believe they are instruments of the divine. And so the initial reaction for a lot of people is denial.
They was like, no, he didn't do this. And they went ahead and bonded him out.
Within weeks of his arrest, William is back on the street as a free man.
For Kendra's loved ones, it's an ominous sign of things to come.
It just goes to show just how powerful he is. He feels invincible.
It's almost like he's gotten away with it. He was so charismatic. He tricked them, too.
If I never had a problem, if I never had conflict,
He is the instrument of God. They can't let God go to jail.
then I wouldn't know how to go to the manufacturer.
By the fall of 2015, Macon police have charged Kendra Jackson's fiance, William Pounds, with killing her and staging it as a suicide.
William is a respected, beloved pastor, so the congregation is quick to rally money to get him released.
They felt like he was wrongfully accused.
They paid his bond and allowed him to get back out on the street.
Backed by a devoted flock of believers, prosecutors feel that William's conviction is no sure thing.
It can be hard to overcome a defendant's image, especially when someone is seen upright and moral.
In the eyes of the public, William Pounds is a pillar in his community. And so it's gonna be difficult to convince a jury that he's actually a liar, cheater, and a murderer.
But as the trial date approaches, prosecutors receive a helping hand from an unexpected source: William himself.
As a condition of his bond, Mr. Pounds had to wear an ankle monitor so his whereabouts could be monitored. He had restrictions.
He's approved to go to places that, a normal person would need to go. The doctor's office, the grocery store, his home.
However, the powerful pastor has no intention of following the rules.
He was breaking his bond conditions. He was drinking, he was going out to parties like nothing never happened.
Kendra's gone, this sweetheart. These 2 daughters now don't have a mother. So many people affected. And the nerve of him to celebrate anything ever again in life.
He was clearly violating the conditions of his bond, and he was rearrested.
This is when the congregation started to realize that this is not the church-going man that they all thought he was.
Just to see that many people being manipulated at one time, it's just evil. I felt bad for the people.
When William's trial begins in October 2017, he still remains confident that his pious image will carry him through to a not guilty verdict.
William enters the courtroom with a Bible in his hand.
He's still keeping up with this persona that he's created.
But prosecutors aren't having it.
They contend that William's mountain of lies can prove that he's the killer.
Prosecutors tell the jury that on the night of June 12, 2015, William and Kendra got into an argument.
I noticed you ain't been wearing that ring I gave you.
You damn right I haven't.
Based on the statements from her friends, prosecutors believe that Kendra was done with William.
Why would I wear the ring of a man who's engaged to another woman?
As simmering resentments bubbled to the surface, the couple's argument intensified.
Prosecutors believe that Kendra, having seen William's web of lies firsthand, was going to expose him for a fraud, a liar, a manipulator.
That's right. I'm gonna tell the entire congregation that their pastor is a damn hypocrite.
You know what?
And so instead of taking responsibility for his actions, investigators say that he opted to silence her altogether.
What are you gonna tell now?
What are you doing?
What are you gonna tell now?
What are you doing?
We're not doing anything. Where are you going?
William took his military-issued pistol and fired 2 shots. One that went through the bed and another that went through Kendra's head.
Once Kendra was dead, Mr. Pounds immediately tried to stage the scene so it appeared that Kendra had committed suicide. Mr. Pounds retrieved the bullet from the wall, retrieved the casing from the floor. He took both items into the bathroom and flushed them down the toilet.
Once the jury retires to deliberate, it doesn't take them long to return with their verdict.
William Pounds was found guilty of malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault.
William was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
It's a victory for the dedicated investigators who worked tirelessly to bring William to justice. But for Kendra's loved ones, the conviction falls short of healing their wounds.
I don't think there's any amount of time that he could do to repair the pain and the hurt and the brokenness. That doesn't bring Kendra back.
It takes a unique kind of manipulator to prey on so many women.
They were a military couple on the rise.
She was a proud Navy wife.
We want to be an officer.
He rose up through the ranks and earned his commission.
It was one of the proudest moments I ever had.
But pride turns to horror when he's found dead under mysterious circumstances.
It was difficult for us to determine what led to his death.
He had a problem with alcohol.
And he was also suffering from depression.
We thought it could have been suicide.
Maybe he finally drank himself to death.
Or were other, more sinister forces at play?
Something ugly did happen here.
It was all a plot. It was all a scheme.
Y'all was planning to kill him.
The whole situation was shocking. I felt like I was locked in a bad movie.
He didn't deserve to die like that. It was just an American tragedy.
February 12th, 2014, Orange Park, Florida. It's just past 8:30 a.m. when a 911 call breaks the silence of this quiet Jacksonville suburb.
111, state emergency.
Hi. I'm here to pick up my husband. When I walked through, I tripped over his feet, and he was like covered under his clothes. She's not answering.
Okay, I'm going to get rescue on the line with us, okay? Stay on the line with me.
The caller is 44-year-old Yolinda Doss.
She appears to be shocked, distraught. She says that she opened the door to go and check on him, and she tripped over his body.
Did you say he's breathing or no?
I didn't. I can't touch him.
Okay. And is he breathing?
No.
Moments later, first responders arrive at the hotel room.
They were kind of like extended stay hotels, so a lot of people are living there long term.
Over here. Oh my God.
We had a victim in the room that was motionless, lying there.
He was laying on his stomach on the far side of the bed, in between the bed and the wall.
It's Yolinda's husband, 44-year-old Alfonso Doss, a 27-year veteran of the U.S. Navy.
Commander Doss was in good shape, as you would suspect being in the Navy.
There was nothing outwardly suggesting something had happened to him, but he was unresponsive.
And there's nothing they can do to save him.
I'm sorry, man.
For Mississippi native Alfonso Doss, nothing was more important than family.
He was a good person, and I was very proud to be his father. He was kind of like my protector, you know what I mean? Like, almost like a hero in a sense. He was actually very loving. He had what I would describe as strong love.
They love their brother. They're crazy about him.
Alfonso was well known for his determination to succeed.
He didn't.
Yolinda Hunter.
They met in the first grade, and they first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way through high school together. They knew each other all their lives.
They became romantically involved with each other in high school.
And when graduation came, they knew they'd support each other no matter what.
You gonna be all right without me? I think I can handle myself.
Finally, in 1991, after Yolinda received her degree and Alfonso returned from a tour overseas, the couple was reunited.
The wedding was a traditional Southern wedding. It was in a church, and they seemed happy, a good fit.
It wasn't long before Alfonso had another special lady in his life, a daughter named Brianna.
After she was born, he was very proud.
You think she's getting all this?
She's gonna need a jump start if she's gonna make it in Annapolis.
I remember him reaching out to my father and sending us pictures and whatnot, my father talking to him on the bank side.
10 years later, in 2001, the Navy transferred Alfonso to Florida, where his family put down roots. Alfonso was well on his way to achieving his dream of becoming an officer.
He had to kind of make himself. He had to go and work hard to achieve what he got.
A lot of good things were going for him. He had a great track record.
He was highly decorated. He had a lot of meritorious awards.
Over the next decade, while Alfonso served his country, Yolinda focused on their family.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Navy wives oftentimes find themselves as the household manager simply because their husbands are off on deployment all the time.
He was gone for long stretches of time, and she remained with her daughter in Jacksonville.
You coming home tonight?
Later, but I'll be home.
Bye, baby.
With her daughter now a teenager, Yolinda took her management skills to the next level and started her own business.
She made T-shirts for sororities, accessories for sororities and fraternities.
Between Yolinda's business and Alfonso's Navy career, the family built a life anyone would envy.
They lived in a fairly upscale neighborhood.
Though for Alfonso, the crowning moment came in September of 2011, when he finally made commander.
He strived for it, and he got it, and I was really proud of him for doing that.
They really worked together to live the American dream.
But on the morning of February 12th, 2014, Yolinda and Alfonso's rise comes to a screeching halt.
Okay, my officer said that he's cold to the touch.
Police responded and found Alfonso dead in an extended stay hotel room.
When the original police officers get on scene, they begin to get basic information from Yolinda.
Can't believe he did it.
Can't believe he did what, man?
What they learn is that he was potentially an alcoholic and battling some mental health disorders.
Yolinda told police she thought Alfonso may have taken his own life.
Through hard work, sacrifice, and 27 years of service, 44-year-old Alfonso Doss had risen to the rank of commander in the United States Navy.
He wanted to be in the military, and not only be in the military, but excel in the military, and that he did.
But on the morning of February 12, 2014, Alfonso was found unresponsive in his hotel room.
His wife Yolinda actually found him, and when EMTs arrived, he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Yolinda was clearly devastated. This was a man she had loved her whole life.
As detectives arrive, Yolinda explains that while Alfonso's life seemed perfect on the outside, inside, he battled demons.
She said he might have committed suicide because he was going through depressions and stuff.
His life has just been such a mess lately.
According to Yolinda, it all started 18 months ago, not long after Alfonso made commander.
He was nearing retirement age, and it looked like he may not promote to the next rank in the Navy, and therefore that led to his drinking.
He was having difficulty with his Navy career because of his alcohol abuse problems.
He was arrested for DUI and been temporarily reassigned at NAS Jacksonville while he received counseling.
He was still in full active duty. However, the Navy had extended him what we call in the civilian world EAP, Employee Assistance Program, where they allow persons that have issues going on, be it mental, physical, or emotional, they can get help.
He was worried about getting out of the Navy with an honorable discharge. And he was going through stuff trying to make sure he could leave honorably.
Yolinda tells detectives that Alfonso's drinking hadn't just caused him problems at work.
She had stated that he was somewhat abusive verbally.
Sweetie, are you okay?
What do you think?
I think you're gonna be okay.
Do you know how hard I worked for this house? And they think they're going to take it away?
He was in a drunken rage, and just the emotional aspect of that, it was ramping up.
That was one of the biggest reasons they separated, and he began living in the hotel.
It was felt that it would be best that he moved out of the home and attend alcohol rehab.
Yolinda says she rented this hotel room for him until he could pull it together.
His Navy pay was going directly to Miss Doss, and so she kind of controlled the money.
She managed the bank accounts, and then she would give out money to him as needed.
Of course, Yolinda was certainly supportive of the alcohol abuse rehabilitation and continued to be as supportive as she could.
According to Yolinda, things had actually started to improve, especially after Alfonso got good news from the Navy.
Since he had been going through the treatment program, the Navy decided that he would receive an honorable discharge, which was scheduled to happen within days.
It really seemed like he was getting better.
But Yolinda says she had a bad feeling when she got a call from the rehab center Tuesday afternoon.
People had called and saying he hadn't shown up.
She said that she had been trying to reach him and hadn't been able to contact him. She left messages, but he didn't return her calls.
Yolinda says she was racked with worry by Wednesday morning, so she had gone to the hotel to check on her husband.
I just kept calling for him, and I was knocking, and he wouldn't answer the door. And
after getting no answer, Yolinda let herself in the hotel room.
She had a key since she was the one who had rented the room.
Alfonso? Alfonso! Alfonso!
They had been married 23 years at the time of Mr. Doss's death. She was deeply saddened.
Once we had a decent statement on scene from Yolinda Doss, she requested that she could go home.
She wants to get to their 16-year-old daughter and be the one to break the news to her daughter that her father is now deceased.
Yolinda also reaches out to Alfonso's family.
My phone rang, and she said, "Hell is dead." And I don't know how I felt, to be honest with you. I had never had that feeling before or since, and really never wanted again.
We were in total shock. Absolute shock.
Though as painful as the news is, it isn't entirely a surprise.
We knew he had some problems, and this was right on the heels of hearing about him reaching out to my father.
He called me on the phone. He said to me, "Dad, I'm sick. I've been sick, and I've been going through a lot." And then he started to tell me about the rehab he was going through, and he was getting help.
The idea that he would commit suicide soon after he just got finished talking to my father. He's talking about retiring and things like that. It didn't make sense.
While the family grieves, detectives begin processing the scene, starting with Alfonso's body.
They couldn't make a determination of death at that particular time because there was nothing obvious that was standing out.
However, detectives do find evidence of Alfonso's struggle with alcoholism.
We found 2 empty rum bottles that were in the room.
Though other clues at the scene suggest there's more to this story than meets the eye.
All of the drawers were pulled out of the dresser, and all of the drawers were pulled out of the nightstands near the bed. Also, we noticed that there was a power cord for a laptop, but no noticeable laptop, and there was no cash in his wallet.
The first thought is, well, maybe somebody has gone into the room and committed a burglary.
There's just one problem with that theory.
There was no signs of forced entry. Commander Doss had to let the person into the room, or somehow the person conned their way into the room.
Canvassing the hotel, detectives find a maid who may provide their first lead in the case.
She had seen our victim with what she believed to be a prostitute about a month prior to this incident.
Could you describe her?
She was skinny, she had long hair.
Was there anything else?
As a matter of fact, there was a guy that was sitting in the parking lot. He would drop her off sometimes.
That piece of information from the housekeeper was vitally important.
Detectives wondered, could he have been the prostitute's protection in case something went wrong?
We knew there might be more to the story as far as who would have, had their hand in killing him.
It's been 24 hours since Commander Alfonso Doss was pronounced dead in his hotel room. While detectives haven't ruled out the idea of a suicide, they can't ignore the signs that there was someone else in the room on the night of his death.
The room looked ransacked. Drawers from both nightstands and the dresser were all pulled out.
Cleaning staff had seen the victim approximately a month prior to this incident with what she believed was a prostitute.
The hotel maid also mentioned the prostitute was always accompanied by a man, possibly her pimp.
Hoping to identify the pair, detectives pull the hotel's security footage.
There was video surveillance from the hotel that covered the lobby and the entrance to the parking lot.
Reviewing the footage, detectives discover that the alleged prostitute had been to the hotel on Monday night, less than 36 hours before Yolinda found Alfonso dead in his room.
However, there were no cameras covering Alfonso's room, so detectives had no idea if that was where they went.
When detectives receive the results of Alfonso's autopsy finding, the pair becomes an even greater priority.
He had a fractured hyoid bone in his throat, and basically that is very indicative of manual strangulation.
The autopsy report confirms their suspicions that this is a homicide.
Mr. Doss was in good shape, about 6 feet tall, and a Navy man, so very capable of defending himself.
He was attacked by somebody who was more powerful than him.
And right now, the only person on their radar who could have done that was the man that the hotel maid described waiting outside while a prostitute visited Commander Doss's room.
According to the report, Alfonso died on Monday the 10th, the same day hotel cameras caught the prostitute visiting the hotel.
They couldn't specify the exact time during that day, but they believed it was the 10th.
Detectives thought that Alfonso might have had a date with that prostitute, and if he had been drinking and became abusive, her handler might have intervened.
As police search for the prostitute and her associate, detectives bring in Yolinda to give her the news.
When the police got the autopsy report back, they make a decision to tell Yolanda how he died.
When we informed her that her husband was killed due to manual strangulation, her reaction was surprise.
In spite of the shocking news, detectives try to gain more insight into Alfonso's behavior in the days leading up to his death.
We're going to probably rehash a lot of the stuff we already talked about, okay? We're going to kind of talk to you about your relationship with your husband and what's been going on with in the last year or so. Does he bank account?
No, I mean, we had accounts together, but I eventually just put me on them because I did not want him to
go into the use my money.
She says that I gave him $500 not very long ago. I know he had money.
Did you ever know him to use prostitutes?
I just don't know.
Throughout their marriage, and I think at most of his deployments, there was always suspicions that he was carrying on affairs wherever he went.
Anything when he was deployed or stationed anywhere, any reason for to believe that you were cheating on him?
Now, I had male friends, I had female friends, but never have I. No.
She emphatically said, no, I would never cheat on him. We have a child together. I wouldn't do that.
She stated that she was faithful to Mr. Dawson and was trying to work the relationship out.
With no new leads from Yolanda, detectives decide to let the grieving widow go.
Well, if there's anything we can do for you, I have to give us a call.
Thank you.
Well,
The next day, detectives meet with Alfonso's father, who was still struggling to process the news of his son's death.
It's hard to explain. I just talked to him 3 weeks earlier, said him how proud I was of him.
The news that Alfonso was murdered hits the family especially hard.
To find out that he would die this way, that was very shocking.
It was a devastating thing. It still is. You never think that this would happen. And the type person Al was, I mean, who would want to murder him?
When asked about Alfonso's relationship with Yolanda, his father says there was no real cause for concern, despite all the drama his son's drinking had caused.
He had moved into the hotel, and he was talking to me as if though he thought she and he could get back together at some point.
His family had no reason to believe Yolanda had anything to do with this.
However, Tom believes there is someone close to his daughter-in-law worth looking into.
He believed that it might be possible that Yolanda Dawson's father was involved.
Yolanda's dad had previously done time for attempted murder.
That was very interesting because your father has done the very thing that they were investigating.
Detective Monroe, he said, wow, basically, wow, you can't make this kind of stuff up.
48 hours after Commander Alfonso Doss was found murdered in his hotel room, the entire city of Jacksonville is alerted of the news.
People were upset because it is a big military town. You see this military man, his photo plastered on TV and his dress glues there, and he's been killed in a hotel room. That upset the community a lot. They were outraged that he was dead.
As the community grieves, detectives zero in on a possible suspect, Alfonso's father-in-law.
Detectives have just learned Yolanda's father had been part of a murder plot almost 15 years earlier.
Yolanda Dawson's father had been involved with a woman who was married and actually went into the hospital where this man was being treated for other injuries and attempted to put insulin into his IV.
Her father was convicted of attempted murder and was sentenced and served time for it.
Now detectives wonder, could Yolanda's father have struck again?
I thought he had killed my son for his daughter, or had it done. He's that kind of guy. Maybe he and some other person got together and killed my son.
To find out, detectives go to the source.
We spoke to him over the phone, and we got a little bit of basic information with regards to what vehicles he drives, what he does, where he lives.
Yolanda's father lived in Memphis, which is where he claimed he was at the time of Alfonso's murder.
Detectives aren't about to take his word for it, though. Instead, they pull his phone records.
We used cell phone records to help us find the location of where his phone was during this homicide.
But it's another dead end.
Based upon phone records, he was not in town during the time of this homicide.
With the alleged prostitute and her associate the only potential suspects remaining, detectives focused their efforts on identifying the pair.
We began going through Alfonso's cell phone records, looking for phone calls that he had made, text messages that he had received or sent.
They found a woman that he had been in conversation with from time to time.
The woman is 31-year-old Ramona Sykes.
We identified that she had called his phone several times, seeking his death. And so, of course, having that information, we had to track her down and talk to her in person.
That day, detectives bring Ramona in for questioning.
Ms. Sykes, we have a few questions about Alfonso Doss.
Who?
She denied knowing Commander Doss, so they continue to talk to her and they press her.
Ms. Sykes, don't lie to us. We have your phone records.
Ramona Sykes was reluctant to speak with us because she was a little bit leery of police officers and detectives, and had a past of, dealing with law enforcement.
Put on the spot by detectives, Ramona admits to knowing Alfonso, but says she had only met him once.
They just so happened to cross paths, and Doss saw her, flirted with her, and said maybe we should hang out sometime.
We met. We hit it off. He thought we should hang out. So he gave me his number. I called him a few times, left a few voicemails. I never heard anything back.
Ramona explained to us that they had the initial conversation about hanging out, and then they never actually met up.
Though that's what Ramona claims, detectives can't be sure.
Ramona didn't have an alibi for Monday night, so detectives were unable to rule her out at that point.
While keeping a close eye on Ramona, detectives returned to the crime scene.
We began to look for security cameras from any vantage point we could in that particular area.
The hotel's cameras only covered the lobby and the entrance to the parking lot.
Mr. Doss's hotel room faced Eldridge Avenue, which is a road just outside of the hotel. But what we found was that there was a security company across the street who had their video surveillance capabilities displayed on the front of their business, and that particular video camera faced directly at the victim's hotel room.
Detectives obtained the footage for Monday the 10th, the day they believe Alfonso was murdered.
We were able to find a pickup truck that pulls near the hotel room of the victim, and we can see two individuals exit the vehicle and walk over towards the victim's room.
The distance is too great to make out much detail.
You couldn't make out individual characteristics, but what stuck out to us about the two individuals is one appears to be much, much larger than the other one. And we can see that those two individuals used key cards and accessed that room.
About a half hour later, Commander Doss comes in.
You can see him on camera entering the hotel room, and then the door shuts behind him.
He goes into his room, and that's the last time they saw Commander Doss alive.
He had no idea he was walking into a trap.
Detectives are investigating the murder of U.S. Navy Commander Alfonso Doss. After reviewing neighboring surveillance videos, they have just discovered what appears to be footage of his killers entering his hotel room.
Looking at the surveillance video, they see this truck come up with two men inside, and now they want to know who these two men are.
The footage is too far away for detectives to be able to make a positive ID. But one of the suspects definitely stands out.
When we discovered these individuals on the video surveillance, one was much, much larger than the other one.
Detectives believe they were, without a doubt, looking at the man who had overpowered Alfonso and choked him to death.
But who is he? Hoping for some insight, detectives once again circle back to Alfonso's widow, Yolinda.
Can you give me any insight as to who? Or anything, any hints, clues, anything you think could lead us in the right direction?
I can't imagine. No.
But just when it seems that Yolinda can offer no new information, she makes a shocking admission.
All of a sudden informed us that not only did she have a business partner, but that they were more than business partners and had a romantic relationship.
Yolinda explained that she didn't bring him up previously because the thought of him somehow being involved had never even crossed her mind.
Yolinda's partner is local security guard Anthony Washington.
Anthony Washington worked security at her daughter's school. That's how she met him.
Yolinda explains Anthony had started helping her out with her business recently.
He worked for you and Al, or how?
Well, technically, because the businesses were mine and Al's business, so yeah.
So he was kind of like an employee, or was he a partner? Or?
It depends on how you look at it. More or less an employee.
She had a lot of boxes for traveling to these trade shows. So I think that that's where Anthony Washington came in.
As her husband slipped deeper and deeper into alcoholism, Yolinda says that Anthony had stepped in to fill the void.
I think she welcomed the fact that someone was nice to her, and he was very nice to her, and he cared for her.
But now detectives wonder if Anthony had done more than just care for Yolinda.
The investigators pressed her and asked, would he want to harm Commander Doss?
Kind of like the bad boy type of thing, right?
No, he's a sweet guy, really sweet.
So he's never in trouble or anything like that? Never been. What does, just out of curiosity, what's Anthony drive?
He's driving a little
What's it, what kind of?
Enterprise. His is a Dodge.
Still suspicious of Anthony, detectives don't reveal everything they know to Yolinda. And the next morning, they bring Anthony in for questioning.
When I met with Anthony Washington, he was very polite.
He wasn't like a vicious type person.
But physically, he is a perfect match for the man in the surveillance video.
Anthony Washington stood, I believe, 6'7" and weighed 365 pounds.
From what I understand, you and Yolinda are kind of a thing, aren't you?
Oh, I said intimacy has been that long. Maybe it's like 6 months.
So it's not a serious, it's not a relationship.
It's not like, you know, you my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend, you can't see nobody.
He didn't refer to it as a love relationship. It was more of like a friends with benefits type of situation.
Yeah, let me ask you this question. Most men, not all men, most men are jealous creatures. Did Al know about you guys, more or less? Or did...
Well, he never confronted me. Yeah, he never, I mean, he always accused her when, but that was funny, only when he was drinking.
Anthony believed that he'd been abusive to Yolinda.
What kind of problems were they having?
Just his drinking, you know, it's abusive and it's all of that, you know, he can't control his anger. That's mainly it. The drinking started everything.
He denies he would have anything to do with his death.
He also offers up an alibi. His friend, Ronnie Wilson.
He says that Ronnie Wilson is with him the majority of the day, that they went to the gym together, that they were at his parents' house together.
The next day, when detectives follow up with 32-year-old Ronnie Wilson, he confirms Anthony's story.
He explains to us, much like Anthony Washington, that they were together that day, that they went to the gym, that they were at Anthony Washington's parents' house, as well as later that evening, they went and shot pool.
You go back to the house to... Whose house? Went back to Yolinda's? Or no, back to Anthony's?
Detectives suspected that there was something that both Anthony and Ronnie were leaving out.
They looked very much like the people on the video surveillance.
But when detectives asked Ronnie what kind of car he drove, he denied owning a car at all.
All but convinced Anthony and Ronnie are the two men in the surveillance video, detectives contact Anthony's parents about his alibi.
The day of the homicide, Anthony Washington had stated that he was at his parents' house, so we wanted to verify that with them. They didn't remember for sure.
However, that's not the only thing his parents tell detectives.
The family confirms that he does have a truck that he drives from time to time.
They had on and off allowed Anthony Washington to use the pickup truck for hauling things for Yolinda's company. And in fact, when we reviewed the video surveillance, this description of this truck matched with the vehicle that we saw.
Detectives believe that they've found Alfonso's killers. They just needed to prove it.
Both of them claim that they were actually at a gym working out about the time the murder occurred.
Detectives pull the men's phone records to compare against their alibi.
So we were able to look at those records and establish that that really was not true.
Their phone records indicated that they were near the hotel.
Detectives decide it's time to apply a little pressure.
They go back to Anthony after they looked into his phone records.
We watched surveillance video. If you were the last people to see him on this earth, still alive, and you got a lot of explaining to do.
Once the questions start, it's clear he can't.
Anthony Washington's mannerisms were very nervous, sweating, dry mouth. We could tell that he was about ready to tell us the truth about what happened.
We're real close here, but there's still something left that you got to explain to me. All right, and you got to explain it to me.
That's where I know what I did.
Okay.
You guys didn't do anything. Besides scared of getting Jesus out of it.
Just a lot of discrepancies that are coming up in their stories of where they're at and what's going on, and we need to figure out what Anthony Washington's involvement was with Yolanda Doss, because we were suspicious of Yolanda, and we wanted to know that she was potentially an individual that was involved in the homicide as well.
Put on the spot by detectives, Anthony Washington has just admitted to being at the hotel on the night of Alfonso Doss's murder.
After he decided that there was no more denying his involvement in this case, he said, all right, let me tell you what happened. And he begins to paint his side of coming to the hotel.
He said he went with Ronnie Wilson to the hotel room just to scare or to talk to Commander Doss.
When you guys had that scare tactic that you guys talked about, you and Ronnie probably discussed it a little bit, can you tell me what went on in that conversation?
Trying to go in and scare this man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. There wasn't no plans of action. You know, go in and let him know what his options are.
And according to Anthony, it wasn't his idea to confront Alfonso.
And he admits that Commander Doss's wife, Yolanda, was the mastermind behind the whole thing.
Yolanda Doss was having a tumultuous relationship with Alfonso Doss. And Yolanda Doss would tell Anthony Washington that Alfonso Doss would drink a lot, and when he would drink, he'd make threats.
No. Think of it.
Baby, what's wrong?
I cannot take this any longer. I cannot take this.
I know, baby. Look, I know.
I need you. I need you to do something about it.
Anthony Washington tells us that they came up with a plan to sneak into his hotel room.
I got you.
Anthony tells detectives that he recruited his friend, Ronnie Wilson, to help. And on the evening of February 10th, they drove to Alfonso's hotel in his father's truck.
They entered the hotel room with the key cards that Yolanda Doss had provided.
When Alfonso came in, some 30 minutes later, they caught him completely off guard.
The way he described it to the police was that Commander Doss just kind of lunged at him.
Anthony Washington says that Alfonso Doss goes to throw a punch or lunge at Anthony Washington, and that he actually catches him by his neck.
And I caught him in mid. I mean, you shook my hand before.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I know, man.
He claims that he was defending himself.
He described holding him up in the air by his neck, and he was a much bigger man than Alfonso Doss, and he picked him up in the air by the throat and then threw him on the ground.
For the whole time, you were gurgling. That was it. Just get the hell out of there, man. Let's go.
Okay, let me see this. Why do you, did it cross your mind to call maybe for like rescue or something, or was y'all?
I figured he was drunk. I mean, I ain't even thinking nothing about it. And I definitely ain't think that nothing we had, nothing we did had to do with this, because I knew he was dealing with, whatever he was dealing with.
Anthony Washington may have left, not knowing there was any problem with Alfonso Doss.
While that's what Anthony claims, it makes little difference to detectives.
Yolanda Doss, Anthony Washington, and Ronnie Wilson were arrested on second-degree murder charges.
News of Yolanda's arrest stuns Alfonso's family.
Yolanda was my daughter that I didn't have, She called me dad, and I was just surprised and shocked and brokenhearted that she would kill my son.
I can't wrap my mind around what would cause you to sit down and plan someone's murder, your husband's murder, the father of your daughter?
After her arrest, detectives sit down with Yolinda for a final time. She admits to sending Anthony and his friend to her husband's room that night, but nothing else.
She asked Anthony Washington to intercede for her and talk to her husband about his behavior. And so when her husband was killed, that was totally unexpected to Mrs. Dawes.
Did you know that they were going to go there and kill your husband?
Detectives don't buy it for a minute.
You just can't look at us and tell us. You won't say that you sent them boys over there to kill your husband. I believe you did.
Why couldn't you just go and knock on the door and say, hey, you need to stay away from my girlfriend? They weren't there just to threaten him or scare him. They were there to kill him.
And detectives think they know why.
Here's another thing we haven't even touched on yet, all right? The life insurance policy.
As a Navy veteran, Alfonso was worth more to Yolinda dead than alive.
He has $1 million life insurance policy.
With Alfonso's discharge just weeks away, the clock was ticking.
Insurance was a very, very big motive. It was the reason we believe this murder took place.
In September of 2016, the trial begins for Anthony Washington.
Prosecutors tried Anthony first because the surveillance video combined with his confession gave them the strongest case.
He was convicted at trial of first-degree murder and burglary, and he was sentenced to life in prison.
I'm glad he got life without parole. He deserves whatever he gets while he's in jail.
Ronnie Wilson, on the other hand, cuts a deal and pleads guilty to accessory after the fact.
He only served 4 years in prison and is currently out and on probation.
It's a bitter disappointment for Alfonso's family.
Ronnie Wilson should have done almost as much as Washington is doing.
With no evidence to support Yolinda's abuse claims against Alfonso, she sees the writing on the wall and follows Ronnie's lead.
Yolinda Dawes was allowed to plead to manslaughter and receive 12 years in prison. Would I, as a prosecutor, have wished that she had gotten more time? Yes. But even though we believe that Yolinda Dawes was the mastermind behind this, we could not connect that she got Anthony Washington to go out there and kill Commander Dawes.
Despite their desire to see Yolinda punished, Alfonso's family didn't oppose the plea deal.
I didn't want my granddaughter to be without a mother. She was already without a father.
The death of the decorated Navy commander isn't just a loss for his family. It's also a loss for the entire nation.
Looking at what he did in his career, and for someone decorated like himself to
They were high school sweethearts, raising 4 beautiful children.
They were together over 20 years.
She just wanted a family.
My mom was like our superhero.
But her story has a tragic end.
Everything was good, and then my mom was gone.
Looks like there's been a struggle. There's a lot of blood.
As the investigation begins, the mystery deepens.
She had placed a call to 911.
She knew something was going to happen to her.
Jealousy can bring out the darkest parts in people.
I remember hearing her saying, like, I'm as good as dead.
August 29th, 2011, 5:15 a.m. It's a quiet Monday morning in Longwood, Florida. A small suburban town just 30 minutes north of Orlando.
A lot of it was very rural for a long time, but it's not that way anymore. It's more of a bedroom community. A lot of the people here work in Orlando.
It's a wonderful community. It has more of a communal feel. It feels more of home.
Over on the west side of town, Jim Matthews spots his colleague pulling up.
Jim was waiting for his coworker to get there.
Morning, man. What's going on?
It was a typical carpooling situation.
As the two begin their morning commute to work, they make a startling discovery.
Yo, stop the car! They look over to the side and they see somebody, so they figure, well, this person might be hurt.
Being good Samaritans, they just wanted to go check it out and see if the individual's okay.
Hey, miss, you okay? Oh, God.
As they got closer, they noticed there was a pool of blood.
Hey man, call 911. They were somewhat in a panic or shocked as any of us would be, but they knew that they needed help.
912, police paramedical.
Yes, ma'am. We have a person laying on the ground with blood around their head.
Police are on the scene within minutes, but they're too late.
When first responders arrive at the scene, they realize very quickly that this lady is beyond help.
She was gone.
It was obvious that this was a very horrific crime that had occurred.
There was a lot of trauma to her face and head.
But that's not all.
She was sprawled out, legs somewhat spread, naked from the waist down.
The state of the victim's clothes leads police to believe she could be the target of a gruesome sexual assault. But who is she?
She didn't have identification, and there was no sign of her purse or wallet in the car either.
Instead, it's the car itself that offers deputies their first clue about the woman's identity.
Once they were able to run that, they learned that the car was registered to a woman named Sarah Rucker.
18-year-old Sarah Rucker always had a knack for connecting with people.
She was always happy. Everybody wanted to be around her. She made everybody laugh. Had a bunch of friends.
My mom was very bubbly. She was goofy, funny, but feisty at the same time. She was only 4'11", but you would think she was 6 foot with how much confidence and sass she had.
There was one man who'd always found Sarah's sass to be attractive. Her high school sweetheart, Dwayne White, also known as Wayne.
Sarah and Wayne were young when they met. That was her first serious relationship.
They was good. They was always joking together, always having a good time.
After graduation, Sarah and Wayne took their relationship to the next level.
They moved together and she got pregnant with her first child.
Looks okay. But I have a screw left.
You know it comes with instructions, right?
It kind of just happened. So she had me, and then she had my brother right after me. She made my brother a year and a day apart. It was okay, I guess we're doing this family thing.
In 1998, Sarah gave birth to the couple's third child, and a fourth followed 1 year later.
She was happy, very excited. She always wanted a family.
Motherhood came easy for Sarah.
She was a great mother. Her kids loved her, She gave them everything they wanted. And spent a lot of time with them.
She was the best mom that anyone can ask for. She was the go-to mom, the down-to-earth mom. I was never afraid to go to her with anything.
By 2001, Sarah and Wayne still hadn't tied the knot, but their relationship seemed stronger than ever.
There was a lot of love.
The couple shared responsibilities at home, and Wayne took an active role in helping raise the children.
He took pride in taking care of us. He was a very, very good cook. He was the one that was doing the majority of the cooking.
Though providing for a family of 6 was no easy task.
In the early 2000s, he worked for Waste Management as a guardsman. And then after that, he was, I guess, hustling.
We did a lot of general work, like just labor and work,
To help provide for her family, Sarah decided to enroll at a local college.
I remember she was always studying.
I don't know how she did it, but she did it.
The hard work paid off, and Sarah earned her certification as a surgical technician. Before long, she landed a good-paying job at a suburban Orlando hospital.
The people there became like her family. Everyone loved her there, and she loved them.
In 2007, Sarah and Wayne decided to make their 20-year romance official.
The day that they got married, my dad was just like, "You have a surprise for y'all." And we're like, "What's the surprise?" She's like, "We just went to the courthouse and got married."
Soon after, the family moved out to the Orlando suburb of Deltona.
Seemed like they was happy to me because they was doing pretty good for themselves.
Sarah had even more reason to be happy in August of 2011.
The couple's daughter, Kira, had enrolled at Florida A&M University and was following in her mother's footsteps as a pharmacy major because she too wanted to help people in the medical profession.
And on the night of August 28th, Sarah was over the moon with pride.
It was actually the night before my first day of classes. And she was telling me, you know, get some sleep. You got classes in the morning. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow.
But that was the last time Sarah would ever speak to her daughter.
At 5:15 the following morning, 2 commuters found their dead body in a Longwood, Florida parking lot.
She had suffered tremendous injuries to her neck area. There was, I believe, at least 11 slice marks where her throat was cut.
Law enforcement was not quite sure whether this was some type of random mugging or attack, or whether this might have been some type of targeted killing.
Whoever did this was a monster, and they needed to be found immediately.
Mother of 4, Sarah Rucker, was honored that her daughter planned on following in her footsteps.
Her eldest daughter was starting her first day at college, and Sarah was so proud of her.
The night before, she told me she loved me and everything, wishing me luck and everything, told me to call her.
But on the morning of August 29, 2011, officers in Longwood, Florida respond to a brutal homicide that will turn Sarah's family upside down.
There's a pool of blood. It looks like there's a savage attack.
They were able to ascertain that the car belonged to a woman named Sarah Rucker. They were not sure yet that the person who had died was Sarah Rucker, but it was a start.
Within moments, detectives arrive on the scene. As they look around, they discover what appears to be defensive wounds on the victim's hands.
When somebody's defending themselves from a knife attack, they tend to grab the knife. Trying to grab the hand, they grab the knife, and they get slice marks on their fingers. And she had those.
The wounds suggest she had fought desperately with her attacker. And the blood-soaked pavement gives detectives a crucial clue about when the murder occurred.
The blood was still tacky and hadn't dried completely. She had only been dead about 1 or 2 hours.
While crime scene technicians begin processing the scene, detectives question the 2 men who found the body.
And at that point, they hadn't exonerated those 2. They wanted an opportunity to be able to speak to both men, to figure out what they knew.
How long were you here before your friend showed up?
Maybe 5 minutes, 10 at most.
You didn't notice the body?
No, it was behind the car.
Did you see anyone else besides your friend when you got here this morning?
No, we didn't even notice the body till right when we was about to pull off the lot.
So, nothing suspicious that you can recall?
No, honestly, it just looked like somebody left their car there overnight.
While neither of the men are able to provide detectives with much information, detectives do rule them out as suspects.
Neither of these men had any blood on them, and they wouldn't have had any time to clean up or anything like that.
I never got the sense that they were suspicious of those guys, just the fact that they called the police.
These were just good Samaritans. They didn't see anything that had happened. They just happened to stumble across this grisly crime scene.
With no witnesses to the crime itself, the detective's next step is to determine if the owner of the car is in fact their victim. Is this woman Sarah Rucker?
If Sarah was their victim, they needed to try and figure out what she was doing in a restaurant parking lot so early in the morning.
In the initial moments of the investigation, law enforcement was not quite sure what they had on their hands yet.
As detectives begin looking into Sarah Rucker, over on the north side of town, Sarah's colleagues start to get worried.
Holly Long and Casey Bennett worked at the hospital with Sarah and noticed she'd missed her shift that morning.
When she didn't show up to work, they immediately began to get nervous because they're like, this isn't like her.
My mom was always on time at work, so once she didn't show up, they just knew something was wrong.
The two women decide to make the 30-mile drive from Orlando to Sarah's house in the neighboring town of Deltona.
When they knock on the door, Sarah's daughter opens the door.
Hey, sweetie. Your mom at home?
No, I think she left for work.
She says that when she woke up, Sarah was gone.
Why, is everything all right?
Well, we must have passed her on the road.
They didn't want to upset Sarah's kids when it might turn out to be nothing, so they didn't say anything about how worried they were.
Though as they drove back to the hospital, their worry turned to fear.
They keep calling Sarah on their cell phone, and it just keeps going to voicemail. They get more and more worried every time they call.
Then, as they pass through Longwood, their fear turns to panic.
As they are heading back to the hospital, they see all of these blue and red lights, law enforcement, EMTs there, and they began to have a very sick feeling in their stomach.
Fearing the worst, the two women pull over to see if all the emergency vehicles have anything to do with their missing friend.
Both women got out of the car, and they ran up and they began talking with law enforcement.
And they identify that they're looking for a friend named Sarah Rucker.
Police recognize the name Sarah Rucker as the owner of the vehicle.
So at that point in time, what law enforcement did is they asked for these two young ladies to identify the body.
Very sorry, but we do need your help.
Despite their shock, Holly and Casey do reveal what could be a vital piece of information for detectives.
Is there anyone we can call? Any next of kin?
The kids! And Wayne! She's technically still married.
They were still married, but separated, and they didn't live together.
He actually's been dating this new girl named Allison.
Had detectives just uncovered a dangerous love triangle.
An estranged husband, a murdered wife, and a new girlfriend. Suddenly, there were red flags flying everywhere.
Detectives feel like there's a lot more to the story than they realize.
It had to have been very difficult for both of these ladies when you consider the fact that they had no clue that a co-worker and a friend of theirs would be murdered in the grisly manner that Sarah Rucker was. You can't imagine what it is that they might have been experiencing that morning as they had to identify the remains of their good friend.
On the morning of August 29, 2011, detectives have positively identified 42-year-old Sarah Rucker as the victim of a brutal homicide. Now comes the difficult task of notifying her family.
I got a call from the counseling services telling me to go to their office. And it just had me sit down and was like, you need to call your brother. So I called him and he's like, oh, Mama, they found her in Longwood. So I'm like, what do you mean found her? And he said, you know, she's dead.
They've also learned that Sarah Rucker has a potentially complicated relationship with her husband, 41-year-old Wayne White.
Sarah's friends just told detectives that while they were still technically married, Sarah and Wayne were actually separated.
In fact, according to Sarah's co-workers, the couple had separated a year earlier, mostly over financial issues.
My mom was getting kind of fed up with being the only one really doing everything. Everything fell on her shoulders and she was getting tired of
All
it.
these bills. The cable bill, the phone bill, the gas bill. They haven't been paid. What do you want me to do? I want you to...
It was a disappointment to him to not be able to really have an upholding career, especially with having his, children looking up to him, and to know that, your kids can't really say, I want to be like you when I grow up. So that did, bother him.
After over 2 decades together, the couple decided to call it quits, and Wayne moved out.
It was pretty unofficial, but we kind of knew that my dad wasn't going to come back.
Sarah's co-workers tell police that after the separation, Wayne met another woman named Allison.
They start to date, and he eventually moves into her home, and they start to have their own separate life apart from Sarah and the children.
Detectives make the 30-mile drive to Orlando to speak with Wayne.
We weren't sure yet that he was a solid suspect, but that's what we got to follow up on. We need to find Dwayne White.
Wayne White?
Yeah.
We're here about your wife, Sarah.
I heard about what happened. Everybody's been blowing up my cell phone. Just awful.
Mind if we ask you a few questions?
No, not at all.
He was actually very calm and relaxed, answered all of their questions.
We understand that you and Sarah are separated. Yeah, we were. It was my fault, actually.
Wayne was pretty honest about his role in the downfall of their marriage. He knew he was to blame.
Wayne fully admits the last time he had contact with Sarah was just hours before her body was found.
He said straight up that he had been at his ex-wife's home earlier that day in the early morning hours.
What time exactly? Around 1, 2 o'clock. I went over there to talk to my son. My oldest, he's 17. He stays up late.
Wayne says he didn't intend to wake up the rest of the household, but things didn't go as planned.
Wayne told detectives that the family's dog woke Sarah up, and she wasn't very happy about it.
Wayne, what are you doing here? Do you know what time it is?
Sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Wayne doesn't deny the squabble, but is adamant he had nothing to do with Sarah's death.
Wayne says that he went home after the fight and he hasn't seen Sarah since.
Can anybody vouch for you? Sure, my son can. He was there.
That afternoon, detectives sit down with the couple's son. The 17-year-old is still processing the news of his mother's murder.
Dwayne Jr. was really in a tough situation. His mother's dead, and he's talking to law enforcement about what he had seen in the early morning hours.
They obviously wanted to know the dynamic of what was going on because it puts everything in context.
The distraught teen does his best to tell detectives about everything he witnessed that morning.
Dwayne Jr. just laid it out, what happened.
Wayne and Sarah's son essentially confirmed what his father had told detectives about going over to the house.
Diesel, hush!
My brother told me, like, Diesel was barking up a storm.
When he looked out the window, he had noticed his father walking up the sidewalk. So he opened the door.
Yeah, my mom walked in. She was pretty upset. And they got into a heated argument. And things got pretty intense.
My mom told him that he needed to go. And my dad wasn't trying to hear that.
I just want to talk.
Dad, it's okay.
Don't you start.
His dad told him you need to butt out. This is none of your business.
The couple's son says his father did leave, but not without a fight.
Listen, I cannot have you coming around here at 2 in the morning. I gotta go to work.
We'll go to bed then. Go on.
No, I'm gonna call the police.
Go.
She threatened to call 911.
Hello?
That's when my dad pushed my mom down. He took her phone.
Stop, Wayne, stop!
It was the phone that she had for work, and he left.
Wait, she talked to the police?
She tried, but he took the phone and left.
After talking to the couple's son, detectives contact the Volusia County Sheriff's Department, the precinct in Sarah's hometown of Deltona.
She made 3 phone calls to 911 trying to get them there because of what was going on.
The first of the calls lines up with what Sarah's son described to detectives.
You could clearly hear Sarah saying, "Stop, Wayne, I'm calling the police."
The next 2 calls came a few minutes later from a different number.
She took Dwayne Jr.'s phone and proceeded to call the sheriff's department.
Sarah was able to explain to the 911 dispatch operator that her husband had taken her cell phone and left.
My mom was on call for work, so she really needed that phone.
By the time deputies arrived, Wayne was long gone. However, the 911 recordings do produce an interesting piece of information.
Apparently, Wayne hadn't really come over to talk to his son. That was just an excuse.
I don't know what she was thinking about coming over here at 2 in the morning talking about, "Baby, I need you."
It sounded like, from what Sarah was saying, Wayne was begging her to take him back.
Even though he had a girlfriend, Allison, he seemed to indicate that he was trying to put his family back together.
Obviously, that made them a bit more suspicious of Wayne since he left this out of his initial statement.
But it also puts someone else on detectives' radar.
Now detectives want to know, had Allison somehow gotten wind of Wayne's attempt at reconciliation? Hey!
This might have triggered her to perhaps become jealous or upset.
If there was a love triangle going on, it may have gone very wrong.
Detectives have just learned that hours before 42-year-old Sarah Rucker was found murdered, the mother of 4 had an altercation with her estranged husband, Wayne White.
Several hours before Sarah Rucker was killed, she had placed a call to 911 about her husband. He had shown up at her residence and an argument had taken place.
In the 911 call, Sarah told the operator that they were arguing, partly because Wayne wanted to get back together with her.
The 911 call paints Wayne as a possible suspect, but detectives also wonder about Wayne's current girlfriend, 37-year-old Allison Cartwright.
Jealousy is a powerful motivating factor, and so they were concerned that with Wayne seeking to reconcile, that if Allison somehow had knowledge of that, that could have been a motive for her to try to kill Sarah Rucker.
On August 30th, barely 24 hours after Sarah's murder, detectives bring Allison in for questioning.
So, what was your relationship like with Sarah?
I was living with her husband, so we weren't exactly friends.
Allison admits to the police that she and Sarah didn't get along at all.
However, according to Allison, that doesn't make her a killer.
Allison was pretty straight up that she had no love for Sarah Rucker, but that she didn't have any anger or hatred toward her that would have led her to kill her.
So did it bother you that Wayne wanted to get back together with her?
What would give you that idea?
Allison said that she had no knowledge of any attempts to reconcile between Wayne and his ex-wife.
That's what Sarah said.
Well, Sarah's lying. The only reason why she and Wayne didn't divorce was because of the kids.
The detectives couldn't help but notice that Allison did sound more than a little touchy about Sarah.
They're not convinced yet that she's being totally forthcoming with them.
Where were you last night?
I was at home.
Can anyone confirm that?
Yes. Wayne was there.
Allison gave police an alibi that she had been home all evening with Wayne.
Allison says I didn't have anything to do with this.
But at this point, Allison and Wayne just had each other as alibis, and that was not strong enough.
But for the moment, there's nothing for them to hold Allison on.
They thought they might have had a motive, but they really did not have enough concrete evidence to actually charge Allison with the murder.
Later that day, detectives received Sarah's autopsy reports.
The official cause of death was multiple stab wounds and cut wounds to her neck.
She died from loss of blood due to having her throat slit. It was at least 11 slash wounds into the major arteries.
The most severe cut was 6.5 inches long, 2 inches wide, and it severed her esophagus and carotid artery.
The depth of the cuts also gives detectives clues about the nature of the attack on Sarah.
They determined that the murder weapon was more than likely a pocket knife. And this led investigators to believe that this was not a planned murder.
The results of Sarah's autopsy also reveal she hadn't been sexually assaulted either.
She'd been found naked from the waist down, but now it seemed that this was something her killer staged to try and throw detectives off track.
To detectives, this all suggests Sarah likely knew her killer.
Stranger type situations don't typically lead into that type of injuries with a victim of a stabbing.
When you look at the types of injuries that Sarah Rucker had on her neck, it was pretty clear that someone was extremely angry with her.
Police believe they have the suspect list narrowed down to 2 people.
Law enforcement at that point faced the dilemma of trying to figure out whether it was Allison or Wayne.
Either Wayne was enraged that Sarah rejected his attempt at reconciliation, or Allison killed Sarah out of jealousy.
Either way, the murder had been preceded by a vicious struggle.
It was pretty clear also from the autopsy that Sarah had tried to put up a fight. There were some superficial cuts to her hands and to her arms.
But does this point toward Wayne? Or does the fact that Sarah was able to fight for so long point to the fact that Allison could have been wielding the knife?
Hoping for clues that could point to the killer, detectives dig into both Wayne and Allison's police records.
Police look into Allison's background and they can't find a history of violence.
But when the detectives pull Wayne's rap sheet, it stops them in their tracks.
His criminal history tended to show that he had a propensity of violence.
This is a violent man.
Maybe those old demons rose again.
42-year-old Sarah Rucker have just uncovered that her estranged husband, Wayne White, has a checkered past.
When they look into Wayne's background, they realize that he has a track record of violent attacks.
Dwayne had committed an aggravated battery. He also had a couple aggravated assault cases.
The first incident of domestic violence was when she was pregnant with their first child, and Wayne hit her across the head with a wine bottle.
Though Sarah had reported the incident, she'd also decided to give Wayne a second chance.
She took him back, but then he did it again and again for years.
Through the years, there were numerous incidents where Sarah would call law enforcement after Wayne had struck or hurt her.
Sitting down with Sarah's family, detectives learn more about the cycle of abuse.
It'll be good for a little bit, and then it'll be another fight. One time he put a gun to her before. He strangled her one time. I came home from school and she had like abrasions on her neck. It was taking its toll on my mom mentally and physically.
Honestly, I don't know how she did it. Kept a brave face for that long.
We came out of a broken family, so I guess she didn't want her family like that.
She just didn't want to have us grow up without a dad.
In fact, Sarah's family reveals that Sarah could have called the police far more than she did.
My mom tried to avoid calling 911. She was a really private person. So she didn't want, the police officers showing up at the house and the neighbors seeing everything going on.
But I guess she just couldn't take it anymore.
My mom never told me that, I said he had to go. It's like they were arguing really bad, and then my dad left for a couple of days, and he came with a friend and took the TVs off the wall, and that was it. As far as me and my siblings knew, it was just, all right, I guess that was the big one, the big fight that made them really just go separate ways.
Though according to Sarah's loved ones, it wasn't the end of Wayne's harassment.
Sarah, open the door!
He'd show up drunk or whatever, all times of the day and night, expect her to just come out and talk with him, do whatever.
Sarah, open the door now!
He would come and just creep into the house sometimes.
Combing through his record, investigators stumble upon one incident in February of 2011, some 6 months before her murder, that sends chills down their spines.
Wayne had grabbed her as she sat in the vehicle, choking her around the neck.
I don't know what happened. I just saw the marks on her neck.
After that incident, a warrant was issued for Wayne's arrest.
That warrant had never been served, though.
Volusia County had been trying to catch him, and they had not been able to do so.
Wayne was able to avoid capture, largely because he lived in a different jurisdiction.
Every time she calls, Dwayne hops on I-4 and gone. He's out of the county.
I did feel let down because the police show up after my dad's already halfway to Orlando. And that's happened time and time again.
Detectives are determined to prevent Wayne from harming anyone else. There's just one problem.
According to Sarah's 911 call, her son and the cops that showed up at her house that night, Wayne left after his fight with Sarah.
How did Sarah end up dead a few hours later and 20 miles away?
Hoping to learn more about that night, police issue a warrant for the family's cell phone records.
Crime scene techs were able to track the locations of the cell phones for both Wayne, Dwayne Jr., as well as his ex-wife, Sarah Rucker. And they were able to see exactly where all three phones had gone during the course of the early morning hours of August 29th.
As he told detectives, it does appear that Wayne had gone home after the fight.
We see his phone traveling out of Deltona all the way down to near his home in Orlando.
The records also appear to confirm that Wayne had taken Sarah's phone.
The cell phone records showed that Sarah's phone arrived at Wayne's girlfriend's house, Allison's house, at about 2:47 a.m.
However, according to the phone records, Sarah had called Wayne 45 minutes later using her son's phone.
Around 3:32 a.m., Wayne's phone got a call from Dwayne Jr.'s phone, which we know was in Sarah's possession.
The call lasted for 9 minutes.
The investigators believe that Sarah may have been trying to convince Wayne to return her phone.
Sarah really needed a cell phone for work, so she was really desperate to get it back.
After that call, cell towers track Wayne's phone leaving Orlando and heading toward the Longwood exit off Interstate 4.
We also got the same type of records with Dwayne Jr.'s phone, and it's showing it going to that same location.
Around 3:46 a.m., Wayne's phone is in the area of the sandwich shop where Sarah Rucker's body would ultimately be found.
August 31st, 2011. It's been 48 hours since Sarah Rucker's body was discovered outside a Longwood, Florida restaurant. Detectives believe they have finally identified her killer, Sarah's estranged husband, Wayne White.
When they pulled their records, detectives learned that Wayne and Sarah had met up at the scene of the crime roughly an hour before the murder.
This is really the turning point of the investigation.
Detectives waste no time bringing Wayne in for a second interview.
So they brought him in to the station to confront him with all of the information they had.
So we had some things come up since we last talked.
And as before, Wayne seemed more than willing to cooperate with investigators.
Detectives asked him if he had taken her phone, and he said yes.
Why?
I wanted to see who she was talking to. You know, some of those guys, I don't trust around my kids.
Wayne tells investigators that Sarah has been texting several other guys.
Wayne indicated to law enforcement that text messages that she had exchanged with other guys seemed to indicate to him that there was some type of arguments going on.
Given what detectives know about Wayne's abuse towards Sarah, they're suspicious of his concern.
So what'd you do with the phone?
I threw it away. I got mad when I saw the text. I tossed it out the window while I was driving home.
You sure about that?
The cell phone record, you see him traveling back into Seminole County and her traveling from Volusia County to where they end up in the same location.
We know you met her in Longwood.
No.
So were you planning to kill her, or did it just happen?
I'm more lawyer.
That was when he said he didn't want to talk anymore.
With the interview over, detectives take Wayne into custody.
When I officially found out that he had been arrested and charged with the murder, it was like it all just clicked. Nobody else would want to do that to my mom except for him.
Officials are confident they've got the right man, but is it enough to secure a conviction?
The case is still what we would consider a circumstantial case.
You're trying to stress that it's impossible that somebody else did this.
On October 20th, 2014, Wayne's trial gets underway. However, it's clear from the beginning that prosecutors will have an uphill battle on their hands.
There wasn't an eyewitness. There was no murder weapon. It was not necessarily the strongest case that I've ever seen.
Though in their opening statements, prosecutors argue that what they do have should be more than enough.
He had the means, motive, opportunity to commit the crime. All these factors point to him, and there's no factors that point to anybody else. And therefore, it must be him.
The proof, according to the prosecution, lies in both Wayne and Sarah's phone records.
She was on call, and she needs to answer the phone and be able to go and to perform her duties as needed by the hospital.
Wayne, it's me. You know I need that phone.
I just got home. I can meet you somewhere.
Wayne had used Sarah's cell phone as bait to lure her away from her home,
he, I guess, told her where to meet.
Once they were in that parking lot, they started arguing again, and then another fight ensued.
I'm tired of this crap, Wayne. Give it to me.
Why you always giving me a hard time? Why you always giving me a hard time?
Give me the phone back.
You always giving me a hard time.
Give it to me.
The defensive wounds found on Sarah's hands also gave investigators a clue as to the type of weapon used: a pocket knife.
She eventually was overcome. What happened with her pants and all that, I don't know. That's always been a mystery. I know law enforcement felt that he did that to debase her.
He may have also been trying to make her murder look like it was the result of a sexual assault.
Prosecutors assert that once Sarah was dead, Wayne left her there and drove home. When it's the defense's turn, Wayne takes the stand to give his own account of what occurred that night.
It was very surreal. He turned to me and mouthed, "I love you."
Then he stuns the court with a shocking admission.
He admits that he was planning to meet with Sarah at the sandwich shop.
That he had gone to the restaurant to give Sarah her phone back.
Though Wayne claims that when he got there, he made a horrifying discovery.
He tried to say that when he got to my mom, she was already dead.
He said, I came there to meet with her and I found her body and then I got scared.
His concern was that because there had been the prior argument, because of the fact that he had had prior arrests for domestic violence, that no one would believe that it wasn't him.
According to the defense, things had played out exactly as Wayne had predicted.
The defense attorney argues that Wayne was unfairly targeted by the police.
However, it's an argument that ultimately falls flat with the jury.
He was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder.
As a result, Wayne will be spending the rest of his life in prison.
He won't be kidnapped. He will die here.
I did want him to be in prison forever. He took our innocence. Like, we had to grow up super fast when he took my mom. It's just so much stuff that we needed her here for, that any child would need their mother for, and we just didn't have it.
However, despite the tragic loss, Sarah's children have thrived.
The oldest daughter graduated from college. She's a pharmacist now. The oldest son, he played football and he was in the Coast Guard.
Though for all their success, not a day goes by without them thinking of their mother and all that she meant to them.
There's plenty of things that I wish I could tell my mom or show my mom, or, you know, like, I wonder what type of grandmother she would be to my son.